You're about to hear real stories from real security professionals. Names have been changed to protect the innocent. Welcome to Tales from the Guard Shack.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's podcast. This is Pato and Tales from the Guard Shack, episode 4. I get to be the lucky MC, if we want to call ourselves that. Woo. MC. Sounds like back in the day, in the hip-hop beginnings. But anyway, I'm your host today, and I'll be sharing some more stories of my journey in this field. By the way, thank you for tuning in. I know you all have options, and to all my brothers and sisters that put on the uniform every day or every night and go out there and fight the good fight, thank you for doing so. Thank you for being the eyes and ears. Thank you for keeping us safe, for making those phone calls to get the ball rolling that eventually make a difference in someone's life. Now, speaking of making a difference in someone's life, a lot of people have a tendency to look down on security guards. Usually they're like, oh, you're just the guard, blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you a little something, And like I said, this show is to uplift and, give a big shout out and a big pat in the back and big high five to all and everyone that is involved in this field. This show is not in any way made to bash down on security guards. So usually you know what we say. But today I want to talk about a story that happened at one of the places I've worked. This was an in-house place where there were storms and security here, usually it's very involved. It's not the typical, mall observe and report type thing, and nothing against that. But what I'm saying is, in this environment here, let's just say that there's times when these security officers really, really work for their money. And bottom line here is I'm talking about making a difference in someone's life. Now, this happened a couple of years ago. Names will be changed to protect the innocent, as always, but this is a true story. In fact, it happened in the Valley of the Sun. And what happened was, okay, let me tell you, there was a call sent to the dispatch at this place where we work because, we're fancy like that, or we were fancy like that at this place. And we had a dispatch and we got a phone call for a wellness check because I guess the student wasn't feeling well, something happened, and two young officers responded, and they headed out there, to answer the call. Now, okay, we're gonna call one of the officers, Mighty Mouse, just because, I don't know, he reminded me of Mighty Mouse. And the other one, we'll call him El Presidente because that's what this other officer referred to him. So anyway, these two officers respond to a room where some kids were hanging out playing video games, and apparently one of these kids started having convulsions. Now, I was the officer in charge that night, and like I said, they responded. They called dispatch, and they requested EMS, so dispatch got EMS rolling. I stopped whatever I was, patrolling, going around doing my things. I stopped what I was doing, and I headed over to that dorm. I arrived pretty much at the same time the fire department did, so what I did is I held the door open and guided them over to the area. When we arrived to that area, these officers were taking turns doing CPR on this young kid. Now, um, obviously fire department gets there. They take over, do what they gotta do. Eventually, the kid was transported to the hospital. Now, as I was once again guiding the fire department back out, holding doors, doing what we need to do to get them moving, I saw the kid in the stretcher, and quite honestly, it didn't look good to me. I was like, oh man, he doesn't look good. And we didn't know what was going on. There was a lot of speculation. A lot of people quickly assumed, college kids hanging out, blah, blah, blah. Alcohol or drugs was one of the first things that they assumed, you know. However, this kid was transported, and what I'm saying is it turned out to be that this kid had some kind of a heart problem. And this kid is alive today thanks to the efforts of these two security guards, Mighty Mouse and El Presidente, who, responded, assessed the situation. Now, and they're in that specific site. We're CPR trained and, authorized to respond. You may not, if you're a security guard, you may or may not have this training, or may not even be allowed to do so. I mean, maybe all you're allowed to do is make a phone call, get an EMS rolling, because it varies by site. But what I'm saying is the quick response, the assessment of the situation, and, these two exceptional individuals made a difference in someone's life. Now, obviously, other than the usual pat in the backs and attaboys that they get from us, there in the crew, that kid's mom went out of her way to make sure that these two officers got the recognition they deserved. And it even, I believe it was in the Valley, Channel 5, it came out in the news, and, which is well deserved. All I'm saying is, there is a kid today still living, breathing, because two security officers made a difference in his life. So, what's the moral of this? Well, what I mean to tell you wearing the uniform right now, what you do matters. There's a lot of people that put on this uniform and don't give a crap, and they make the rest of us look bad because they don't take this job serious. They think that security is a joke. But in all reality, there are times when nothing happens and it's cake, right? But there are times when, you can make a difference in someone's life. In this case, it was a matter of life and death. Life or death, And thanks to their training and quick thinking and getting everything rolling, we all work together. Eventually, at a company all-staff meeting, even I got recognized, which I didn't want to be part of that, because I was like, all I did was hold the door open. They did what they were supposed to. They responded, they assessed the situation, they notified the supervisor on duty, which was me. I went over there. I got there exactly at the same time the fire department did, held the door open for the fire department, went up there. Now, it was good and awesome teamwork. And sometimes, it's hard to come by. But when you have that, it's awesome to belong to an organization like that. So I'm just saying, these people, they know who they are. If they ever come across this podcast, they'll know exactly who I'm talking about. And what I'm saying is, if I'm saying anything, how I usually say this, okay, well, I want you to know that what you do as a security guard matters. So take it serious. And after all, you want to go home at the end of your shift, right? Don't be, don't be one of those that deliberately kicks off the shoes and gets into a fetal position and sets the alarm in a room, so that nobody knows he's in there sleeping. Not that I would know anybody like that because, I don't work with people that do that kind of stuff because that would be unethical. We all know people like that. And sadly, there's a lot of bad apples like that, or people who think they're slick and above the system. But what I'm saying is, you wearing the uniform, be proud of yourself and understand that even you may not get to perform CPR on someone, but what you do being observant sometimes you have no idea how many things you might have stopped, deterred, just being there, visible, present, Well, that's the story I have to share today. It's kind of a nice one. It had a nice happy ending. The kid lived, and these two officers got recognition. It doesn't always happen. A lot of the times you will do your job and nobody will recognize it. It goes with the territory. But this is one of those stories where I figured, listening to a security guard tell you about this other security guards, and like I said, this is a true story. I even got my little award, even though I felt that the ones that truly deserve the credit was those two guys that were working under me, because they were the first responders and they took care of the situation. Oh, well, that's all the show I got today for Tales from the Guard Shack. It's just something to uplift you, to let you know that you do matter. What you do makes a difference. And, be safe out there, because we all want to go home at the end of our shifts. We'll be back on another Tale from the Guard Shack. I'll hopefully either all three of us, or I don't know, me and K-Dog, or maybe a special guest. I don't know. Well, but when we come back, we'll come back and share some funny stories, funny haha stories. In the meantime, speaking of K-Dog, he just checked in. In the meantime, you guys do what you got to do to be safe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in.
You're listening to Tales from the Guard Shack.